Well, we get loads of questions through our various social media platforms all about hook baits and how to enhance them. Now, there's loads of ways you can enhance them with liquids, with oils, with powders, but I want to take you through one of my favourite ways, and that's utilising one of our standout products, and that is the Screamer compound. So the Screamer powder was released probably a couple of years ago now, and it's become a firm favourite with loads and loads of our customers. It's, well, as the name suggests, very creamy product. It's based on yeast extracts, hydrolyzed vegetable proteins. We've got lots of taste enhancers and a lovely cream palate. So you can dip your finger in it and taste it. It tastes and smells absolutely divine. And when I was putting together the blend, it was the one that stood out. This combination of all those ingredients I just mentioned, that combination stood out in the tank tests. So not only is it obviously a very versatile powder, but it also gels very well. So in the day and age of coating baits, by putting liquid on first and then putting the Screamer compound on, it will basically coat the bait like a bomb and then form almost like a gel. And that's really, really important, because that makes sure that that gets all the way to the bottom of the lake and then starts the slow dissolve rate. Another key aspect of the Screamer compound is its solubility, and this is absolutely key and the cornerstone for carp attraction. You need something to be soluble to attract carp. So one method that I like to use is to actually layer up the hook bait. So you're putting loads and loads of attraction onto your boilie, onto your hook bait, so a small little area, but it's packed full of attraction, which then can dissolve and leach out. And it's really important to have a staged release time. You don't want it going in and everything releasing after the first hour. You want it to be staged over a number of hours and even through the night to the next morning. And using this powder will do that. So I'm going to take you through and show you exactly how I layer up these baits to create a really powerful hook bait that screams food. So you can use this product with any hook bait of your choice, but I tend to favour some of the wafters. So a 12mm wafter or a 15mm wafter food bait, and then coat those up so you're making like a bonbon effect. And it's really, really simple in terms of, if you take this process, and I wouldn't do this on the bank, I'll probably do this at home so you can layer up and let it dry properly. So the first step is to take half the hook baits out of the pot, so you've got room obviously to put the liquids and the powders in. Once you've done that, then the first step is to put the liquids of your choice on. Now, I favour, you can put a multitude of liquids on there, it's endless, but I tend to stick with a matching dip. So if I'm using the Cremino, then I use the matching Cremino dip. So a small amount of that goes into the tub, and you basically then swirl all the baits around and make sure they're coated nice and evenly. So the next step would be to add some oil. Now, in the summer months, I like to use like a marine derived oil, like a salmon oil, which is a bit fatty. But then in the winter months, then I use probably one of our seed-based oils, such as the Cremino oil. So once the liquids are in, you want to make sure they're not swimming in the product. You want them to be glazed and shining, but you don't want really no excess at the bottom of the pot. If there's excess in the bottom of the pot, try your best to pour that out and get that out of the way, because then the next stage after that is adding the powder. So the first layer of powder goes on. You basically then put, I don't know, a couple of heaped teaspoons into the pot, put the pot on and give them a rattle down and a shake, and you'll see that the powders will then start to stick to the outside of the boilie. So this is why it's important to have only half the baits in the pot. So once the powders are in, you can give them a good swirl around, and they can move and get a good coating of the powder. So once they're evenly coated, that's the first layer, and you basically just leave this now for a few hours to form that crust. Let it dry around the bait. So after that first process, the second process is exactly the same. You take your liquids and your powders and your coating to create a multi-layered hook bait. And the more layers you put on there, the more soluble attraction goes onto the hook bait. So when that goes out into the lake, it's breaking down layer by layer, giving off lots and lots of attraction, but also it creates like a halo on the bottom as well. So you've got lots of food signals that will be sinking in around the sediment, but also a halo around the bait, which is a great visual target, I find, for the carp. So that's how I like to use the Screamer compound. It's very, very versatile, and it's caught me plenty of fish from not only in the UK but abroad as well. And if you want to coat up your normal baits, you can just repeat the process but on a bigger scale, maybe a bucket or two. Another successful way of putting lots of stimuli and lots of attraction in and around the water where you're fishing.